So the 128 and the 131 upstage kit, or the 131 crate motor. Is it really worth it? Let's compare them. Catch you inside.
RevelatorAlf.
Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. Hope you're enjoying the channel and the series of videos. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and check out the website RevelatorAlf.com. So we know that for the 107 engine and for the 114 engine and also the 117 engine, there are upstage kits available. Now for the 107 engine we can go up to 128 cubic inch, and for the 114 and the 117 you could actually go up to 131 cubic inch by a stage 4 kit. But also now recently Harley Davidson have released the 131 crate motor for the Softails, but also it's been out for a few months for the Tourers, of course. Now the 131 crate motor and also the 131 kit can only be made or be put into a bike that's had a 114 or a 117 engine before. There has been a few reports that possibly this new crate motor, the 131 for the Softails, could be put into a 107 engine, but actually that hasn't been confirmed. And what we're led to believe so far is that Harley Davidson are saying that the 131 crate engine will only go into a Softail that has a 114 engine. So we'll have to wait and see for any further clarification. But if you've got any further information on that, let us know in the comments as well. Okay, let's just talk about figures, shall we? I'm going to basically talk about the stock figures, first of all, from a 107, 114 and a 117 engine. Now this is all about figures, and it is really all about, you know, whether you want to see a significant percentage gain in performance and torque and horsepower, whether you're willing to spend the money, or whether you really care. So those are all side issues. The interesting thing here is that Harley Davidson have claimed that the 131 upstage kit, the crate engine as well, will give you a 48% increase in horsepower. Also, it's been reported a 48% increase in horsepower over the 114. And it will also give you a 21% increase in torque over the 114. So we're going to dig into those numbers as well. Okay, let's just talk about the 107 engine and upstaging to a 128 kit. Okay, so the 107 cubic inch engine, 1746 cc's, that's 145 newton meters, which is 106.9-ish foot-pounds of torque, and that is measured at 3,250 RPM, 83 horsepower, at 5450 RPM, and that's for the sport line. Okay, we've also got some other bikes like the Softail, Slim, the Standard, the Street Bob, Low Rider, and the Deluxe and Fat Boys with the 107 engine. They're at 145 newton meters at 3000 RPM, which is 106.9 foot-pounds of torque, of course, but they're at 86 horsepower at 5020 RPM. The Fat Bob is with a 107 engine is 145 newton meters, 3000 RPM, and that's 83 horsepower at 5020. Okay, right, those are the figures all out of the way. So basically it's in the region of 83 horsepower, 86 horsepower, and 145 newton meters, all 107 foot-pounds of torque. Now the 128 kit will take your cc's up to 2097, that's 128 cubic inches, of course. It will actually produce in the region of about 126 foot-pounds of torque, and also 121 horsepower. So the percentage gains that you're going to get from a 128 upstage kit over a standard 107 engine, you're going to get 17.75% increase in torque and a 40.69% increase in horsepower. Now this obviously is all dependent on air cleaner that you get, and also the exhaust that you're running as well, and also the tuner cleaner. So there are variations in this, of course, but the base figures here, just calling the base figures here, you get 126 foot-pounds of torque and 121 horsepower. It's a substantial increase, but it's not earth-shattering, let's face it. Now, how much is this going to cost? Well, the kit itself is in the region of about £3,500, dollars, shekels, depends on where you are, of course. Then you're going to have it fitted, so that's going to cost you at least another couple of thousand, you would have thought. Then you're going to have to factor in, well, you're going to have to put a tuner on it if you're going from stock, and exhaust and air cleaner as well. So really you wouldn't get much change out of £6,500, dollars, shekels. Obviously that price will fluctuate, but that's the basic figure here. So about £6,000. That's going to give you in the region of about 18% increase in torque and a 40% increase in horsepower. Okay, so what is it you're getting for your money? Well, you're getting bigger cylinders, of course, heads, valves, injectors, bigger throttle body, up to 64mm throttle body. You get the high performance cam, the SE8517, and also the high performance tappets as well. You're getting the cam bearings and steel lined cylinders as well. Now obviously you are getting changes to the engine with bigger cylinders and the cam and everything like that. But as I say, that's a lot of money. £6,500, let's say, dollars, shekels. Obviously it depends where you get this done, or if you can do a lot of the work yourself. And also depends how much you've already spent on your bike as well in terms of other performance upgrades. So you've got to think, well, if you've already had other work done, then maybe you may have to, and you're changing it completely, this is going to be one big expense. However, if you're going to be combining other stage upgrades with this as well, you'll be able to condense that price as well. So it really depends how much money you've already spent, what work you've already had done, or if you're going from a completely stock bike. And this is what I'm talking about, going from completely stock, jumping up to a 128 cubic inch engine kit. So that's a lot of money for nominal gains in torque, 18%, but quite a hefty boost in horsepower. So not bad there at all. Okay, let's look at the 131 kit for the 114s. Now the 131 kit will make your engine as a 2146cc engine. It gives you 131 foot-pounds of torque with 121 horsepower. So basically that's 5 foot-pounds of torque increase over the 128 kit, but horsepower is exactly the same. Now obviously again I must say this is all Harley Davidson products, Screaming Eagle products as well. They're quoting it with their street cannons and their high airflow air cleaners as well. So it really depends on what other equipment you're putting with this, and you'll see marginal percentage gains in torque and horsepower as well, of course. Okay, let's get into the figures here for the 131 upstage kit and also the crate motor as well. Now it has been reported that the percentage increase in torque and horsepower over a stock 114 will be 48% in horsepower and 21% in torque. Let's get into these figures because this is quite interesting. For the stock 114 engine, for the majority of them, they're running at 155 Newton meters, which is 114 and change foot-pounds of torque, and that's running at 3000 RPM. They're also running at 93 horsepower at 5020 RPM. Now that's for the Fat Bob 114, the Lowrider S, the Breakout Fat Boy. Now the FXDR is running at 160 Newton meters, 118 foot-pounds of torque at 3500 RPM. It's running at 90 horsepower at 4500 RPM. So the 131 kit will give you 131 foot-pounds of torque, and it will give you 121 horsepower. Let's compare the basic 114 engine in the Softails, and then I'll do a comparison from the Tourers with the upstage kit. Now bearing in mind they're talking about a 48% increase in horsepower and over a 21% increase in torque. Okay, Now the percentage difference between the 114 stock and the 131 is actually, for horsepower, it is a 30.1 percentage increase, not a 48% increase. It's a 30.1. That's just based on the figures. Now for torque, which is claimed to be a 21% increase from the 114 to the 131, of the Softail 114s this is, it's actually a 14.9 percentage increase. Now, if we want to compare this to the 107 as well, actually the 131 increase over a 107 horsepower is actually 45.78, and in torque it's 22.43. So we're talking, again, the price of this might vary, and it's very similar to the 128 in terms of costings, but you're going to be talking in the region about £6,500, dollars, shekels, whatever, to go from stock to go to a 131. Then obviously you're going to have to look at exhaust, tuner, air cleaner and everything like that. If you want to put in a crate motor into your bike, actually you're going to probably have to pay a little bit more than that as well. You're going to have fitting and so on and so forth. So that 131 crate motor on there. Now, we're not talking about upstaging that 131 crate engine either. In the future, you know, what advances they can do for that. But what we're really talking about here is just putting that into your bike, $6,500, whatever. As I say, I want to reiterate again, that's going to be fluctuations in that as well. If you're going to put a crate motor in, it's probably going to be a little bit more than that as well, because you're not just buying a bolt-on kit, you're buying a whole new engine. Okay, so that's going to be, you know, if you get change out of £10,000, dollars, shekels, whatever, I think you'll be doing well. Okay, let's talk about the 114 engine in the Taurus and the 117 engine in the Taurus as well. So I've just taken the Street Glide Special, the 114, which produces 163 Newton meters. That's 120.22 foot-pounds of torque, and that's at 3,000 RPM. It also produces 89 horsepower at 5,020 RPM. So the percentage gain from a 114 in a Tourer engine is actually 8.9% increase in torque, and it's also a 35.9% increase in horsepower. So in terms of torque and horsepower, yes, horsepower you're still getting a substantial gain. Torque, you're not really getting that much more of a gain. Okay, let's compare the 117 engine to the 131 upstage kit. So for the Street Glide CVO 117 cubic engine, which is 1923 cc's, you're getting 166 Newton meters, which is 122.43 foot-pounds of torque, and that's at 3,500 RPM. You're also getting 105 horsepower at 5,450 RPM. Okay, so what's the percentage increase? Well, you're actually only getting 7.3% increase in torque and 15.2% increase in horsepower. So if we're just going from stock bikes here, from a 107 to a 128, or a 114 from a Softail, or from a Tourer, or a 117, actually the bigger engine that you've got that is stock, the less gain that you're going to get, especially on the 117. The 117, yes, you'll feel it, but for the amount of money that you're going to pay, up to $10,000, let's say, it really depends, of course. You know, you're talking at less than 10% increase in torque and 15% increase in horsepower. Now that's on the Taurus. For the Softail 114s, you're talking about a 30-odd% increase in horsepower and 15% increase in torque. And lastly, for the 128 upstage kit off a 107, you're getting nearly 18% increase in torque and just over 40% increase in horsepower. So for a £6,500 investment on an upstage kit, or let's say up to £10,000, it really depends on you know, the crate motor and also what other accessories you put onto your bike as well. You've got to consider the amount of money that you're going to put into it. Are you going to get substantial gains, and will it be that noticeable? Possibly, but you'd probably be better served in just getting a stage 2 or a stage 3 kit for your bike, rather than actually spending all this money going straight for a 128 or a 131, or certainly for a 131 crate motor. Now it really depends on the 131 crate motor in the future, what upstage kits they can make for that as well. That might be a real game changer. This is all about performance figures, performance gains, and how noticeable it's really going to be, and how usable it's going to be as well, and how often you're really going to feel that. For the most part, 90% of riders, they probably won't even feel this. They probably won't even notice it or be able to apply it. That's probably a better way of saying it. You might feel it a little bit off the lights. You might feel it a little bit, in overtaking power, passing power. But that's about it. Most people will still be riding within the limits of the road laws and within their own limits as well. It will only really appeal to a certain amount of people who really do like the bragging rights for this engine size or the engine upgrade, or whether they'll be able to use it to the full potential as well. If you're really looking for percentage gains here, yes, you are going to get it, but it's going to cost you a lot of money, whereas you might be better served just getting a lesser stage upgrade that might suit your riding style and the kind of journeys that you make as well. Well, I hope you found that useful. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Check out the website at RevelatorAlf.com, and I'll catch you again on another video coming very soon. Ta-da.